Hello and welcome to the Time with Hime podcast. Today I'm joined by LPS leadership students. We're so glad to have y'all. So first we'll start. You guys can go around and you can introduce yourself, what school you're from, and kind of tell us just a little bit about yourself as to what leadership positions you have. And we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Jessica Meza. I go to Lawton High, and I'm the junior class vice president.
I'm AJ Corey. I go to Eisenhower, and I'm just in leadership.
My name's Kamaya Jackson. I go to MacArthur. I'm in leadership, Pride Line, and I'm the girls track and field captain.
I'm Bailey Louder. I go to MacArthur, and I'm president of Unified, and I'm also in the leadership class.
I'm Caitlin Sparks, and I am junior class president at Lawton High School.
My name is Ross Booker, and I go to Eisenhower. And same as AJ, I am in leadership.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have y'all today. We'll start off with something really light. What about the eclipse? It's coming April 8th. We were talking about before a lot. I believe we're going to be 94%. It's a peak. Any of y'all? I mean, I know that y'all just been studying up on this eclipse. These once in a lifetime things mean a lot when you're 60, but they don't mean a whole lot when you're 16 or 17. But any of you got any plans for the eclipse?
This is my first time hearing about it. So.
Yeah. Heard about it.
Well, we in Lawton are just west of what they're considering the peak area. So we're really not doing anything as a school. I'm sure some of the teachers and some things don't look at it without glasses because it can be dangerous. It is going to be 94%, which means the sun will almost be fully covered here. If you go further east, it's going to be 100% covered. So from in your geographical terms, if you drew a line from Little Rock to Austin, that's going to be the center of it. It all actually goes all the way to Maine and keeps going. But from Little Rock to Austin in our general area, they're going to have like up to 4 minutes of total darkness supposedly. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Some of those areas, there's hundreds of thousands of people coming into those towns, so they're shutting down their schools or taking virtual days and all that. But no, we're not taking a virtual day. No, don't start that. You got test exemptions, you're not getting a virtual day. So anyway, as we go around, and we'll start here, Mr. Booker, tell us a little bit, when you talk about school and what you do, one thing I always like to ask is, and the leadership kids hear me ask this a lot, I always ask students is, when I took this job 4 years ago, one thing I talk about is creating opportunities. Talk about if you've taken advantage of some of the opportunities, and then you can also throw in there, I'm 60. What I see as an opportunity may not be what you guys see. What opportunities would you like to see if you're a junior coming back, or if you're telling your little brother or sister or friends you have that's in middle school or some that we could do for them? Sorry, Mr. Booker. You taking current class? You're not going to Career Tech? Just play baseball? It's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
What kind of field you playing on?
Playing on a turf field.
You like that?
I do like that.
There you go.
But one thing I think could improve is our batting cage.
There you go. So hopefully we get better batting cages. I've noticed all of them need to be improved. So that's a good one. Okay.
I would probably say getting more student involvement in school. I know at my school we don't really have a lot of student involvement in this generation. So being a leader at school, I would like to see staff and faculty try to get more student involvement with tying in with our leadership and doing more with other kids that need to be more involved.
More things like this?
Yes,
Awesome.
definitely, yes.
I really enjoy the opportunity of having concurrent classes. I'll graduate with 32 hours, so I'm really excited about that, and it's a really good opportunity to go into college with. So I would say definitely get involved in concurrent at a younger age.
I don't know, for most students, 32 hours, you basically enter college as a sophomore.
Yes.
Save 1 year of student loans and all the other things that go with college for most of us.
Yes.
So very good. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
An opportunity that I've personally enjoyed and really appreciated, and I feel like it gets a lot of our students involved in athletics, is how we allow students to enter games with an ID. I feel like that's really a more motive to get people out and support the athletics over just having to get them to pay money for it.
So it would be cool though that hopefully, this year, you guys notice there's lights. We can play a soccer game. Wouldn't it be cool to play a varsity soccer game
Under the lights.
under the lights at your own school instead of having to go to Cameron to get more students involved? You know, that's another one of those things we kind of joked about. You've got concurrent enrollment through the leadership. That was last year or the year before when I was talking to the leadership group. It was one thing the students asked for, all three schools, is to get in free so we could get more involvement. So it's another thing you talk to your classmates about. Don't be afraid to ask and have those discussions, because when you think about the students that are coming the last couple of years, free admission, exemptions, that's pretty, I mean, you guys that are seniors, you wish you would have had that the last couple of years. And now some of your, Bailey was saying she's a senior, she didn't even have any class. She's only got one class. She only got one to get exempt from, but 2 years ago would have been nice. So,
Opportunities I've seen, the turf, it's really helped. Like our old field, right now it rained yesterday. We wouldn't be able to play a game there today. We'd probably have to reschedule, and it's a district game, so it'd be tough to reschedule that.
so you're excited about that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And hopefully it gets more students. The idea is to get more students to play. And sometimes we see turf as well as for the baseball team or that. But the other thing is, the ultimate goal is, because turf doesn't, the only thing that wears turf out is the sun if you take care of it. You know, run your groomers and stuff. And so we're hoping our youth sports across the city start using in the summers and in the weekends. We have little kids. I mean, they can play soccer. You can put 4 soccer games on the baseball field and not even hurt the field. And those kids could get to play, and same deal. It rains here all the time. It's so hard to get spring baseball and spring soccer and things. So
Well, I would also say concurrent classes. I've taken advantage of it a lot. I've been taking them since my sophomore year, and hopefully I'll graduate with about 56 hours, hopefully.
topper. Topper.
I'm trying. I want to get my associates before I graduate.
Oh, that would be
that's my
so
goal.
awesome.
That's my goal, to have 2 graduations. But
I love it.
I would say that I would want more scholarship opportunities. I feel like as an upcoming senior, I don't really know how to find scholarships. So maybe that's just something counselors could help me more with. I'm not sure who can help me with that. I just don't know how to find them.
And you know, that's one thing that Ed Service has done, is to try to create a little bit more continuity across. Is now your counselor should be your same counselor every year, so you get that relationship. Because you know, one of the hardest things that we talk about when we have opportunities is communication. You know, how do we get that better? And kind of to tie into what you just said, the enrollment process is out there, and we're starting enrollment now. For those of you going on to college, that's another thing you're starting, is getting enrolled in college. But for you that are juniors and our sophomores coming and our younger students, how do we better communicate to them when you look at it? And we'll start with you this time at this end. But how do we better communicate to you what your opportunities are? Because it's like you guys just walked in here. This is a class. Kids take this class and learn how to take pictures and do camera. That'd be a pretty cool class. But I don't know if we have enough students to understand that this is here. Even the LRC is that some people see the LRC, well, it's for these kids, it's for everyone. How do we better get that out there, what your opportunities are and your choices for enrollment are in your electives and such?
I think it starts with our counselors, because they are with us throughout our high school years, and they build our schedules, they do all of that. So I think if they were to express like all the different electives that are offered, it would help more students realize that there's more than just like biology and English.
Well, and that's a hard job, and I'll defend the counselors a little bit, because sometimes I think the same thing you're thinking. But in the counselor's case, their first job is to make sure you get all your requireds out of the way.
Yeah.
But how do we better communicate when you look at, because do you want text messages? Do you want emails? Do you really read your emails when they come from the counselor? You know, does everybody, how do we better get that communication? Because you've heard me whenever I talk about the one thing we can get better at every day is communication. So, Mr. Elcory, how do we better communicate with you what's going on, your opportunities? How does your baseball coach communicate with you?
He just tells us at practice, like what's going on. He has Google Classroom.
Did you know you can take concurrent classes free?
Yes.
So that's good to know. You know all the different classes they have, the different career tech classes, and you guys feel like you're getting good information on that?
I feel like students
Yeah.
aren't taking advantage of it.
How do we encourage you to without, because like, part of the deal we get into is never ever, I like one of you said, more things that we do together like this. You want to come more together and we want to be Lawton Public Schools. I want to be Lawton Public Schools, that's what I am. But we never want to take away that you're a Highlander or an Eagle or, Huntio or, a Wolverine. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep the individuality, but we also want to become one team. How do we better communicate that across the board?
Facebook, Twitter, I mean,
You look at all that.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Unfortunately, social media has become a big communication these days.
Your turn.
Yes, so I think most of what we're doing is pretty effective. I think the main part of communication is just consistency and persistence. Like maybe just keep doing what we're doing, but maybe expound on that a little more by like reaching out more to teachers, counselors, and parents, like parents too, because they're like the direct connector to the students that we have in schools. So I feel like just consistency, persistence, and just expounding on our communication in all aspects.
Well, again, we said communication, so one thing we can always get better at. Bailey, what do you think?
I think what you were saying earlier, like our counselors, I feel like at MAC, Miss Seeley, our counselor, she's really good at like handing out like emails to us about our scholarship opportunities. I think where the like line crosses, I feel like it's if you take advantage of it. So you can put the information out there, but it's the person who takes advantage of it. Like me personally, like our MAC media page, I always check that. Like that's how our school gets our news out. And all of our like schedules, they're on there too. And so I feel like if you just check regularly, like your email or Instagram, like that's what I do. And I stay up to date with everything at school.
And one problem the counselors do have is they won't fill that out for you.
No, it's yeah. Like me, I just go and I
Wouldn't it
give
be
you
nice if
papers.
they'd fill it all out? And I'll get it. I think sometimes that's the problem we get to on the communication is, it requires a lot of, when you're 17, 18 years old, a lot of paperwork's not really high on your list.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
I definitely agree with Bailey. Like I stay up to date with my email, my social media, and also my Google Classroom. Those are definitely like forms of communication at my school too. I definitely think it is up to the students to take advantage of that opportunity because I know I come from low income, so I definitely take advantage of scholarships for college because I have big goals and aspirations, and you're definitely not going to get there if you don't try, right? So I think the counselors are doing a really great job by putting scholarships out there for us. It's just the matter of student involvement, like I said earlier.
Booker?
Well, I think how to get kids to know more about like things like this at at the LRC is how every year the sophomores take a trip to Great Plains to explore all the opportunities they have there. So I think that maybe students could come here and explore.
Like this part of their trip.
Yeah. And
I think we started doing that or we've talked about it, but that's a good idea. I need to make sure we're doing that. Good idea.
show what they could do and how fun some of this stuff could be, and maybe it gets them interested in it.
How do you do word of mouth? That'd probably help too. How do you better use where, kids, one thing that gets me sometimes is when we got here and we said college was free, you guys were probably sophomores or seniors. Free wasn't free though. I mean, didn't think right. It just can't be, nothing's free, is it?
Yeah.
And the more you've taken advantage of it, it's like, it really is free. How do you get them like, we're not kidding. You're going to take 50 hours and you're not paying a penny for it. We get your books, your fees, and your tuition. You guys got those hours. How do we get that? I mean, I think some of that helps, even with our parents. I mean, I think sometimes, we always think they say it's free, but is it really free? Because if you've got the, if you can get in, why wouldn't you take some free classes if you're thinking about college? And there may be a reason. Everybody should get to make their own choices. So, well, as we wrap up today, is there anything else any of you would like to mention or talk about that's going on at your school that we should all know about? Nothing? Well, let me tell you, I appreciate y'all coming on here. I always enjoy having students on here, and I know that talking to you is how I myself can do things to make school better for the other students. Sometimes you guys, it's too late for you because you're graduating,
Right.
but that's some things you guys can always help. But I always encourage your underclassmen, let them know just what we talked about. Because of the leadership groups we've had and we've met with, is one reason we have exemptions. It's one reason we now get into games free. If there's some things like that we can do that you guys feel both of those have been advantageous to you as students, and they didn't cost the district really any money. So we appreciate that. So again, thanks for being on here, and glad we got to talk about the eclipse, and y'all had so much expertise about it. But it is interesting that as you get older, an eclipse means more than it does when you're in high school. So, well, until next time, we'll see you guys next week with the Time with Hime podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.